Hi guys, I am thirteene as usual, and tonight we're going to be playing a little smallpox control in modern. So this deck actually looks pretty similar to 8 rack. So if you're actually enjoying this deck, I'd actually suggest you go over there and check it out. We do have the deck up on our website as well as on YouTube. But what we're trying to do here is we are trying to play green, or not green. There's no green in there. White-black control, and we're going to be utilizing SmallPox fairly. So what this deck is trying to do is play SmallPox, keep your opponents off their bigger land drops, like try to slow them down a little bit. SmallPox will make it so that each player loses a life, discards a card, sacrifices a creature, and sacrifices a land. The land we want to sacrifice is Flagstones of Trocaire, whatever. And when that card goes to the graveyard, we get to go search for a plains and put it into the battlefield tapped. So we can go get a Godless Shrine with that. We can just go get a plains, but we can end up running out 2 copies of this and sacrificing one, just go get a basic plains, or alternatively sack it to Smallpox. Opponent goes down a land, we don't. Then we're hopefully going to be discarding Lingering Souls. Lingering Souls is going to basically be pseudo card advantage by discarding it and getting it into the graveyard. And then we're backing this game plan up with the generic black suite of fair cards: Inquisition, Thoughtseize, Liliana, Collective Brutality. And then what this deck is trying to do is try to keep your opponent off lands. We're actually running 4 Mana Tithes. The Golden Knight, we're going to Mana Tithe some people. Then on top of that, we end up running 2 copies of Aven Mind Sensor, basically make it so that fetch lands are less effective. And then we are actually a white-black control list. Because we're not getting up to to fairy level mana, we have a couple of 3-drops. We have both Swords and a Gideon. And that is Smallpox. So we have a couple of ways to discard. We're running Ley Lines on the side because we can just discard extra ones. Lingering Souls is a very powerful magic card. So far, there haven't really been amazing decks in Modern for it. There's kind of been white-black tokens. There's kind of been Abzan Rock. This is probably the fair strategy to fully utilize Lingering Souls, but we're going to destroy some lands tonight, and I know everybody loves that. Alright, so I tried to square up Mana Tithe before we started, but it looks like I wasn't even remotely close. There's Mana Tithe, there's our counter. Again, that's our Golden Knight. We're going to Mana Tithe some people. And we would love the play. Well, this is awkward. We gotta start off with Thoughtseize. We have a Mutavault. In order for Mutavault to tap for black, we end up running copies of Urborg. It's also legendary, which is a good Smallpox target. We get to Thoughtseize on 1 and start Mana Tithing. I'm kind of on board for this. I'd love another land. But ideally, we're going to be playing the matchups where our opponents are taking advantage of the new London Mulligan rule, and we'll be able to pick out the one card that's making their 6 or 5 card hand stick together. Opponent's currently on the mold of 5, so that's looking significantly more promising. Knowing opponent's on 5, I'd snap keep this hand in an instant. Alright, let's get it on. Going for the Godless Shrine here because we do need double black, as well as if we miss, we have to be able to Mana Tithe and Thoughtseize. Alright, opponent is on Spirits, which means I have to take the Aether Vial here. Path to Exile is probably going to actually target one of their own creatures in this matchup. And then we can Mana Tithe the Rattle Chains on 2. Oh, Fetid Heath. What a beautiful, beautiful sight. So I can Smallpox here, but opponent actually has a secondary land, and they can discard this path. I'm more inclined to do that when I actually have a valid target. But in the meantime, I think we get a Mana Tithe. Anguished Unmaking isn't a terrible backup plan. I could run out Lily here, but more than likely, Rattle Change is just going to come down. Actually, yeah, from what I've seen from opponent, I don't think I have much to fear, so I'm going to run out Lily here. Last minute change of plans, but Lily's a strong card, and they can't spell Queller yet. SmallPox will be able to hit 2 creatures. And I think it's going to be the Anguished I'm making. They are technically an aggro deck, and I don't want to lose the 3 life. All these cards have relevance. I don't want to discard the Mana Tithe and tell them that we have one. I'm expecting Path to go away here. Yep, no Path for them. Yep, there's the Rattle Chains. I'd love a colored source so we could SmallPox and then Mana Tithe if they actually go for the Spell Queller. Spell Queller taking SmallPox could actually be quite bad for us, just because they could pop it at a whim. Okay, that works too. So we're going to grab opponent's last card, both creatures. Probably have to go after Lily here. Yep. Alright, so 1 creature, but that's still fine. Lingering Souls is also quite good, so I can flashback Lingering Soul. I want the last card in their hand. We can get rid of Mutavault. We're going to lose Lily regardless. But we're discarding half of a Lingering Souls. They're actually discarding a real card. They're sacking a land. Next turn they get a hit Lily, but we also get a flashback Lingering Souls. Bye, Mutavault. Sorry, but I need colors. Then it's not always correct to plus your Liliana, especially when your opponent can just kill her on the backswing, so Lily ate a main phase Drog Skull, but it also meant that our opponent had to run out their hand into SmallPox, so that works. Bye, Lily. You tried. Land? Fatal Push. Kind of a land. Ooh. Ooh. Alright, well, can't push the Drog Skull Captain. Sorry, opponent. Tithe counter goes up. Alright, I'm already happy. We have now mana tithed 1 time. Isolated Chapel is very nice. Means that we actually get to flashback our Lingering Souls. We can leave up blockers. We have Mana Tithe and push. Mana Tithe or push, I guess, is actually better phrasing there. Okay, that's slightly awkward. So that means I have to block to get Revolt, and then Fatal Push. I've never actually... Welcome back! I've never actually cast Fatal Push with intent to do it. Only a creature with CMC 4 or less? Sure, why not? You jamming Modern tonight? Odds of actually getting queued up against you? Ooh, another Lingering Souls. Well, welcome back. Playing a little SmallPox tonight. I want to get my Mana Tithe count up. Currently at 1, but I have hopes and dreams of that getting higher. This is the blue-white list, so I'm not expecting a collected company. Ooh, a Geist is a pretty good one. Would have loved to have had Mana Tithe up, but it is what it is. Inquisition's essentially a blank here. Although I do need to flash back. They shouldn't have any board clears. Still keep the Mana Tithe. Oh, that's amazing. Alright, let's check their hand. We get attack in and collected brutality. Or that happens. Yep. There's a reason people don't play Mana Tithe. I am done. That was a sad Inquisition. Am I actually supposed to kill the Rattle Chains here? I don't think so. I think I'm supposed to go after the Supreme Phantom. Doesn't feel good, but I think it's correct. Alright, opponent, what are you doing? I think we're technically winning this race, as long as they have to keep Geist back. Not in the best position, though. Alright, well, they didn't want to trade Rattled Chains for half of Lingering Souls. Ooh, and this is where our deck starts to get good. So, first things first, let's clear the way for SmallPox. That's going to mean that we get a sack of Spirit. We can discard Mana Tithe if it goes to Resolve. If they try to Spell Queller it, we have Mana Tithe up. Okay. I did say that they were probably going to path their own creature before all this was over. We get to discard Mana Tithe. Opponent's been trying to ramp. We get a sack of Spirit. And sack the Fetid Heath. They sacked their Drogskull Captain? Interesting. Alright, well that means 2 spirits can get in. If they top deck a Lord, Geist gets to attack, but we'll just throw a spirit in front of the Angel and call it a day. Means we're still staying up on clock. Alright, Wander makes me a little sad, but we have collected Brutality to kill that. And I did mention in the deck tech that our 4-mana Planeswalkers are a little difficult to cast because we end up sacking so many lands. We've ended up resolving 2 SmallPoxes so far this game. But we'll see what opponent wants to do. Same game plan, send 2 creatures in. If they want to block with the Mausoleum Wanderer, that's fine. If not, we'll have whatever we need for offense. And I feel like Collected Brutality is going to do a little more than just... if I kill the Wanderer, they'll just sack it, counter unless I pay 1, and it won't resolve. So I'll end up discarding Sorin for nothing. The Brutality is probably eventually going to kill the Wanderer, but... Or they'll just throw it away. Oh, that was my bad. Oh my gosh, that was sloppy. I didn't see they played their land. I was supposed to double block that, but whatever. Isolated Chapel gets us a little bit closer. I don't really want to get rid of this Sorin. I know a lot of people in Modern haven't necessarily seen this, but it's going to buff all of our Lingering Souls tokens. It's going to allow us to make a 2/2, and if we emblem against spirits, we're just going to win, and we have chump blockers for days. So I'm just going to go ahead and kill the Mausoleum Wanderer now. They're going to start filling their graveyard, and they can do the same trick as last time, counter unless we pay 2. We don't really have 3 lands. Yeah, Soren's a good card, but only sees play in black-white tokens for the most part, and some of the black-white Super Friends lists, but that's not a lot. And I do want these souls to actually block for Soren now, so I'm going to stay on defense. Was it basically the 5th Siege Rhino? Like, most of my 4-drops in junk end up being either Cocos, depending on the build, or just a ton of Siege Rhinos. Alright, well, I guess that means that if they have a Spell Queller, I ran into it, but they've been on top decks. Alright, we have a ball game. All of our spirits until our next turn are going to have +1/+0 in lifelink, which means they can block Geist successfully. And I have enough spirits that I'll actually survive. Although this Moorland Haunt's going to be a problem. Oh, some of these lists were running Deputy of Detention. That would be frustrating. That might have been a reason to minus. Okay, opponent can't figure out what they want to do. Alright, so Selfless Spirit means guys can get in. Phantasmal Image on Selfless Spirit. Yeah, it makes sense. Alright, so they're going to have to sack the first Selfless Spirit here, so at least one Spirit's going in front of it, one's going in front of the Angel. And Soren's not going to lose a ton here, but we're losing our board state. So that's probably most profitable. Yep, Selfless Spirit for Geist, 100% makes sense. Oh, what do I even want? It's not a land. Let's take a quick look here. So, Gideon's cute. Lily does nothing. Lingering Souls was probably our best draw there. SmallPox would have been okay, but nothing special. Any of the discards kind of bad. I think that just means that we're on plus. Make them use the other Selfless Spirit. All things have to point at Soren, otherwise we're good. Not great, though. Opponent's going to have an active Geist as well as an active Moorland Haunt. They might have stolen this from us. They attacked all at me? Yeah, that can't be right. Yeah, and we don't have like Sinkhole or any targeted removal. I think we have a couple of Field of Runes, though. Nope, apparently I cut them. Alright, so opponent put everything at us except for the Angel going at Soren. Well, that's pretty easy. We'll take our beats, and at worst we'll make a Vampire off of Soren, but that Moorland Haunt was the difference. Oh boy, that would have been so nice to ultimate. Thalia is fine. We can still cast everything in our deck. Minimal Thinning. This is our last turn. Lily of the Veil doesn't do anything. So I can create a Vamp token. I can make them sack, but they'll sack a Spirit. No cards in hand. Yep, I'm dead. Super bad. Alright. Well, Fulminator Mage comes in because Fulminator Mage is here for problem cards. Extirpate seems a little cute. I can try to take something like a Spell Queller that I actually care about. I believe this is anything, including a... Yeah, other than a basic land. So I can take some of their lands. You never want to bring in stuff for Aether Vial, so Stony Silence is out. They're not really a graveyard deck, although Moorland Haunt did basically win them that game. Damnation here for the creature deck, since we mainly have tokens. As far as cuts, Aven Mind Sensor doesn't really do anything. I don't even think they're much of a fetch land mana base. Most of it's fast lands and Aether Vials and the like, so that's a pretty easy cut. Gideon is on the ground. Basically, any other card at the top end can finish the game for us. Although that's basically just our two Sorens. We also have our man lands, but I'm usually not a fan of that train of thought, but this is like I can grab something that I care about. It also, if they go to exile something with Moorland Haunt, I can snag it and grab anything else that's potentially in their hand. I'm not overly excited about this, but it does feel like it's a necessary evil. I do have a couple of cards I really, really care about, like Moorland Haunt, Spell Queller, Mausoleum Wanderer, and I think that's about it. But like, if I get a turn 1 Mausoleum Wanderer, that's going to be delicious. Lily... It is? Exile a creature. Dude, that is busted. Well, thank you for pointing that out. I'm feeling less excited about that now. It'd be really nice to snag those problem cards I was talking about, but it is what it is. Anguished Unmaking hurting us is probably bad, and we got to get it submitted. I'd love to play first, and that's unplayable. Jeez, opponent was even on the mulligan of 5 last game. This is so slow. It's so slow. Alright, well, opponent's mulliganing 2. Oh my gosh, this is so bad. I don't want to go lower than 5, so we can keep this, break it up by sending back a Thoughtseize and a Collective Brutality. Ugh. So nasty. Opponent kept 6. And we're trying to count to 4 here. Ooh, opponent doesn't have a turn 1 play. That bodes a little well for us. Alright, so this Anguished Unmaking is pointed at basically anything here. I'm looking at the Selfless Spirit mainly because of the Damnation. Opponent does have a slower hand like us. If I take Selfless Spirit here, that means I can Thoughtseize, Drog Skull, and that just leaves them with the Supreme Phantom. Anguished Unmaking can hit anything as long as they don't top deck a Rattle Chains. Yep, hello there, Supreme Phantom. Well, that Fulminator's a little ill-timed, especially considering that they have all their lands. Ooh, Phantasmal Image sucks, but it means that we won't lose 3 life against Anguished Unmaking. Oh, yeah, sorry. I went to the Clean Capture for when I went to Scryfall. Yep. Alright, that's Drog Skull, and then that means that Anguished Unmaking won't hurt us when we kill the Phantasmal Image. And I do need to update this. So we are currently 0-1 versus Spirits. Yep, there's Phantasmal Image. Oh, the humanity. I know Saffron Olive has joked around about like none of his fringe decks can ever beat spirits. It's a really, really strong deck. This game we probably would have had a shot if we didn't get stuck on 2 mana, but we did mull to 5. Like, we had some pretty unkeepable hands. Alright, so this is going to be a stop on opponent's upkeep to Fatal Push. Fatal Push the real one, we can still unmaking the image. Pew pew! He's Queller, Jim. No? He is Quellered. Alright, well, we're going to be taking our beats for 5. Wow, that's going to be a 4-4, so 8. We're taking 8 here. Anguished Unmaking doesn't even remotely get us out of it. Yeah, that's probably just a loss. Fetid Heath, you're a little slow, buddy. Alright, well, Spirits is apparently a really, really good deck. I think that's what I've learned. Not just dead, we were super dead. Yeah, one of the things I'm not necessarily a huge fan of this deck, I do feel like 8-Rack is the better version. I think this one's the more fun one, but 8-Rack is the better version. We don't have a ton of finishers, and a lot of our finishers require us either already having a board state or being able to protect them. We are either going to do slow beats with Lingering Souls, or we're going to be dropping one of the 2 Sorns that require tokens, or we're going to require dropping a Gideon and keeping him around. Most of our opponents don't want to use removal on any of our Lingering Souls tokens, so that means that Gideon is a pretty big target for Path to Exile. Oh, this is so bad. Deck, I'd like a playable hand. Alright, this is technically playable. Keep this guy, ship back the Anguished Unmaking. Anguished Unmaking could also probably just be a sideboard card, but I love it so much. It's Sorin killing Avacyn. It was such a big moment. I want to see what you're doing, opponent. Show me what you got. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, so it's traditional Jund. We're taking the Thoughtseize. And we're going to discard some stuff. Get rid of that upkeep stop. Urborg's going to help our opponent here, but Urborg is how we get our Mutavaults to actually help us with mana before we start trying to beat down with them. So this means next turn is an Inquisition with a Thoughtseize. Thoughtseiz's probably taking Bloodbraid because we don't want to have to deal with that 2-for-1. Inquisition taking Bob number 1 or number 2. Collected Brutality can snag the other Bob. Ooh, never mind. SmallPox is probably taking another Bob. What'd you draw, opponent? Alright, opponent does not want to stay in their hand. Alright, opponent can definitely keep that Fatal Push. Bye, Bob. 3 discards, the dream. Bye, Bloodbraid. So if opponent just takes next turn to play Bob, I actually think I'm going to be on Collected Brutality. SmallPox is going to hurt our mana base more than theirs, given the fact that they actually have 2 more lands in hand. Or they're probably going to take SmallPox here. Yep, bye SmallPox. I can drain in Duress, but Duress is only going to take the Fatal Push. I'm good to ship it back. Hopefully opponent's on a Lily next turn. You never want to say that. Plains is alright. So we get to do 2 modes, kill the creature, and I guess duress. I don't really want to take the fatal push, but Lingering Souls is better in the graveyard. Alright, nothing going on all around. We do technically have a Lingering Souls zone. It's quite good against Liliana. Ooh, Flagstones is a pretty good one. Yeah, probably, but the way that we sequenced it would have meant that we had... Sorry, I'm trying to click things. Opponent had to use the Bolt, which means that future Planeswalkers are better. They top deck another push. I could definitely see that being a valid argument, though. I haven't played this deck a ton, and 4 tokens against Jund does feel like it'd be really good. We wouldn't have actually been able to cast it. They would have snagged it off the spell bomb. Alright, well, Friendly Spirit gets to get in. Yeah, I'm going to concede that you're probably correct. The way that the game actually played out means that they actually would have been able to pop the spell bomb last turn, and we wouldn't have been able to get the flashback cost. A lot of Jund and Golgari are running main deck spell bombs at this point, just because like Phoenix and Dredge are the top 2 decks in the meta. Like, you need some amount of sideboard hate, and at least the spell bomb replaces itself. Well, I don't like a spell bomb with Glyphs in the deck. It means that you're making your Glyphs worse for like no reason. Alright, so as much as I want to get my Mana Tithe counter up, they're at 4 mana, and I'm really hoping that they try to cast something here in response to the trigger. Nope. Okay, well, we have active Lily and a Spirit against Jund. Feeling in a pretty decent spot. Also might see an argument to keep a single Spirit back for a Bloodbraid. It does occasionally, especially when you're on the discard plan and you make them discard like a Planeswalker. You can usually keep your graveyard fairly well stocked, but depending on the matchup, sometimes it actually is correct not to pop it. But like, even blue-white's a really powerful deck in the meta, and they end up running... Ooh, gotta mute Slack. They end up running the Snapcasters. Like, it's live in a lot of decks. That's fair, but it's a 2-3. Like, I guess Bolt wouldn't kill it at that point. Think opponent drew K-Command? Alright. You got me, opponent. I'll discard my Godless Shrine. Ooh, other Lily. Alright, I'm actually curious what you think is correct here. Getting Lily to 6 feels relevant, but having a backup Lily feels really good. I don't have a man land. I'm not getting... Yeah, you think so? As long as opponent's on top decks, it's probably correct. It's not like they have anything to swing in at Lily with at the moment anyway. If they do top deck a creature, I can just put out the piles, make them sack the creature. It was what I was thinking as well. Lame. Alright. Wait, I don't think I ever added the swamps I was supposed to this deck. Oh, I'm so bad at this game. I'm actually curious now. I'm going to try to pull it up. SmallPox Modern. I ended up taking the list off of, I want to say, Channel Fireball. Nope, Channel Fireball was the one with Blood Gas. No, Goldfish was the one. Okay, so now Shambling Vent can't get in. Opponent has 3 creatures in the graveyard. Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see a swamp. Um, yeah, that's a really good ooze. I'd love a Smallpox. Just saying. Alright, so this is Channel Fireball Smallpox list. And it has 1 swamp, 1 plains, and 4 fetid heath. I didn't like the 4 fetid heath, but it also had the 4 blood gas. I think that I was going a little bit more off of like a Reddit post. Oh boy, Blood Braid is super bad for us. And that's a 6/7 Goyf. I don't like any of this. I'm going to trade off my Shambling Vent here. If I do end up top decking Smallpox, I'll at least be able to get the good ooze or the Termagoyf and not the 3/2 Blood Braid that already got value. Oh, the pain. Alright, well, I'm dead. No matter what I draw. Like, I'd have to draw Lingering Souls into Gideon to even kind of have a shot there. There's no coming back from that. Alright. Jund is a very mana-intensive deck. Fulminators immediately come in. Liliana is fantastic in this matchup. Lingering Souls are pretty much the best cards in our matchup. Even Mind Sensor having Evasion is actually insanely relevant. It also turns off most of their fetch lands. Their mana base is so greedy. Blood Moon is a thing whenever Jund is a thing. Whenever you're in top deck modes, your discard gets really bad. I'm moving these over, but I'm probably not cutting all of them. I still need 4 cards. Damnation can technically be a thing, but you have to top deck it at the right time. If it just sits dead in hand, it doesn't really do anything relevant. Yeah, I'm looking at this Damnation as one of the cards that needs to come in. Core Firewalker is a little cute against Bloodbraid, doesn't really do anything relevant. Also, Raging Ravine has Trample, so having 2 toughness means that it's not going to do a whole lot. As far as discard goes, their 4 drops are typically Bloodbraid these days. It's possible they have a Huntmaster of the Fells, but I think Bloodbraid's still taking that spot. I think Reed Duke ended up starting cutting Bloodbraids down to be like a 2 or a 3 of. So if I don't want Bloodbraid, Inquisition's adequate. Oh yeah, well, I thought it did. I know you can activate it twice, but... Wait, are you sure? You've been right about everything, so I should just take you at your word, but I really feel like that is Trample. Raging Ravine. Card in question. Ah, it's just whenever it attacks, it gets 1/1 counter. Alright. Well, that looks fine. Again, you don't really want discard in this matchup. We don't really have enough to trim. Yeah, I played Jund like twice and then decided I didn't like the deck and then bought into green-black, played it once, and then was like, Goryo's Asphaltold is a thing. I switch decks far too often. Alright, so this is... Ooh, boy. Let's see, so Shambling Vent means that we're going to get discarded. Mana Tithe hitting discard isn't quite great, but it moves up our counter. We're only at 1 Mana Tithe so far tonight. I don't really want to go lower. The general consensus with these decks is that whenever you're playing against discard, your adequate 7 is better than a good 6. Yeah, Mulligan is so bad in this matchup. Alright, well, that's something. So, Godly Shrine tapped. Conserve life total as much as possible. I shouldn't F6, I need to F2. Oh, they're shocking. Here comes a Goyf. Oh, yeah. That's the spot. Alright, let's move that counter up. This is what we're playing tonight. 2 mana tithes. Oh, good lord. Look at those Lilianas. We'll discard Liliana number 3. Please and thank you. Got opponent's Swamp. Aw, they're getting our Mind Sensor. That was going to be sneaky Mind Sensor. It is fine, but like when we're playing a sneaky deck, we want sneaky cards in our hand. Oh, they took the extra Lily, which means they have a Dreadbore for us? Alright, running out the land because we have Smallpox and we also have 4 mana things. Lily discard here, grabbing Lingering Souls is actually relevant. And then we're going to flash an Aven Mind Sensor in response to a fetch land. Or at end step so we can just get some beats on. Okay. So they're actually really afraid of our Lily. If they're double bolting it, that's fine. Yep. So this Lily ate 3 cards. It also means that opponent has a Fatal Push or a Bolt ready for the scoot for the Save and Mind Sensor, but Bolt, Push, which one? Bolt. Alright, so I probably would have trimmed bolts in this matchup. We don't really have things that you want to bolt. But opponent drew all 3. Did they get all 4? Apparently not. Oh no, the Lingering Souls! I was greedy! Alright, so at the end of the stream, when we're doing wrap-ups, we need to remember I was greedy. Alright, and this is where Fulminator's utility is fantastic. It means that I can get some beats on until they get a creature and then nuke a land. There might be an argument here to try to keep them off Blood Raid. Alright, I'll Stone Rain. Getting rid of their green source. It's more relevant for future oozes. Also, their only green source. Ooh. I'm alright with that one. I'd like one of your lands, opponent, and also one of the 2 cards in hand. Abrupt Decay. Doesn't hit a land. You're supposed to crack that now, opponent. We showed you some Aven Mind Sensors. Do you not respect the bird? Well, opponent's hitting their land drops like a boss, but unfortunately they actually need some cards. Alright, they had the Blood Braid. That was actually a really good read on your part. The Stone Rain was required. So right now I'm contemplating how bad I want to keep the Marsh Flats in hand versus play. We have 4 lands in play for all of our threats, and they run K-Command and Liliana's, so this Marsh Flats can protect a future card. I think that means it's staying in hand. If we do draw a Mutavault, we can run out Mutavault and then just run this out, and we can actually use that to activate it the following turn. Alright, and there's the Mutavault. Well, we hit them, they go to 5. They have a Bloodbraid in hand, which means it's less likely that they draw one. We'll end up having 2 attackers. Alright, another Bob is not where you want to be. Yeah, sorry, you need to have that come in tapped. You already discarded your swamp. Yeah, Bob's just going to kill him. Do I just pass and let Bob do his work? Oh, okay, that's not a bad backup plan. Alright. Dark Confidant's flavor text is greatness at any cost. Opponent, what is your cost? Because we're at 26. Like, Jund doesn't come back from that very easily. Oh, dodging bullets like a champ. Well, opponent has 2 lands and a Bloodbraid in hand that we know about. Opponent's not going to have anything for evasive flying, so Aven Mind Sensor should get the job done. But if they have Lily, it's going to be Lily. Sack Bob, like... Okay, Scooz is a start. Bob should be getting in. You are happy if I activate my creatures and kill them. I guess you want to leave them to block the manlands. Alright, this has been interesting. This has been a good game. Alright, opponent. I don't even think you can... I don't think you had Revolt. This got Stomping Ground last turn. Manatide is cute. Oh, am I supposed to... Nope, it's just Aven Mind Sensor. Alright, ate the Fulminator Mage, you're going to 1. They've got to have an upkeep... they have to respond to the Bob trigger with Scooz, but they can only gain 2 life. They have to gain 2 life. I have Mana Tithe for any 2-drop. Alright, opponent's got his game on. Ah! Alright. I'm having a good time here. That was amazing. I feel like that's worth a consideration, but having some number of discard feels correct. Their deck is built to function off of top decks, and ours is to function off of top decks while the opponent has less lands, so I feel like they might be slightly favored, although Jund has a ton of like 45-55 matchups, and we're probably just one of those. But guys, we have 2 Mana Tithes so far tonight, and it's only round 2. What is with all the 1-landers? How many do we have in this deck? I understand I probably didn't put the swamp in I needed to, but that's 6, 10, 12, 16, 21, 3, 4? I have 24 lands? Okay, well this is fine. I'm actually expecting an opponent to have discard here. I'm wondering if I need to keep 2 lilies. If I keep the second lily, I'm just discarding 1. I just need a functional hand. And here comes the discard. Likely taking my Inquisition. Or if they have nothing else, the Liliana. Bye, Inquisition. So if this is a Bob, I'm definitely brutalitying it. If it's a Goif, it's going to be at least a 2-3. Alright, what's the verdict on duress here? I feel like I'm supposed to duress. Discard Lingering Souls. No duress? Bolt, they probably have push for our man lands after seeing our game plan. They probably have a Maelstrom Pulse somewhere in the 75. They probably have... I guess we don't take their Spell Bomb. They did show a Spell Bomb. So it'd basically be Bolt or push. Yeah, you're probably right. So just Flagstones. Brutality. One thing I did just realize, though, I'm supposed to... They were supposed to cut the push, but I think they showed us one last game. The reason why the list that I had pulled up had 4 Fetid Heaths was that you could Flagstones on 1, Smallpox on 2, sacrificing Flagstones. I don't think I should have cut that many Fetid Heaths, realizing that that's the reason that they're in there. Alright, so they can't quite activate Raging Ravine yet. Well, at least not an attack with it. It is kind of sketchy, but I'm realizing that that's the reason for it. We ended up having a similar situation when we played Owling Mine, where you're supposed to use a Simian Spirit Guide to pay for Boomerang on turn 1. Or turn 1. I think a lot of these lists actually run the full 4 Urborgs as well. Because they are just 100% in on the Smallpox plan. It is the namesake card of the deck, but I prefer a little bit more control element. Ooh, that's a good card. Smallpox, discarding Godless Shrine. I did learn my lesson. So the reason this deck works is because when we go to discard, most of the time we can discard Lingering Souls. But the Scoos has value. And then when we sack a land, we sack the Flagstones. Flagstones, when it gets put into the graveyard, we get a search, go get a Plains. I get to get a Godless Shrine. This keeps them off of Bloodbraid to have a better Edict target, though. Which is the reason I took that line. And Flagstones is legendary, which means our next draw is live for that. All the good things. Now, let's see if opponent kept in Damnation. They shouldn't have, but this is how we get our clock on. It has taken 4 games, but this is what our deck wants to do. Basically, interrupt opponent. I understand that we got Thoughtseize, not them. But then kill off a creature, make them edict, sack their lands. And there's another Scoos. Alright, so our clock is better than theirs, and more importantly, our Shambling Vent can get in this turn. I'm really hoping opponent doesn't top deck a Lily. But we get in for 6 this turn. They're not going to be able to block with Scoos. They can, but there's no incentive to. Opponent goes down to 4. We have 4 damage in the air flying. They can only eat 2 things with Scoos. Another land allows them to activate Raging Ravine, though. That is of note. Alright, opponent recognized they had to stay back this time. Yeah, I had just picked up the deck and I was trying to build a Loam Fulminator land destruction green black list and it just didn't work. So I ended up just using the paper cards and doing green black. Green black has 2 pulses in the 75, but Jund has probably started to cut them. Alright, opponent goes to 1. We're still at a healthy 16. We have a Flash and Aven Mind Sensor if they end up tapping out. Oh, opponent's going deep. Alright. So, opponent is likely going to survive. But we can block with Shambling Vent and then Flash and Aven Mind Sensor. So, I'm still feeling pretty confident where we're at. Although they probably can't attack, at least not with both. Alright, going for it. Well, when you can die at instant speed to a thing in the ice and flipping a couple of Phoenixes, pull set sorcery speed kind of just doesn't cut it. Ooh, think I have to do that main phase? Trophy kind of pushed out Decay. Alright, well, we beat Junt. I actually didn't think we were going to do that. But more importantly, we have 2 mana tithes so far. A little weak considering we're running 4 and we've played 5 games, but... Alright. Ew, that is... This is why I didn't want to have 4 Fetid Heaths. This right here. Oh my gosh, and it just keeps getting worse. Alright. So I have to look for stuff to push back. One's obviously going to be Flagstones, and I think the other's just going to be Fatal Push. We're going to be able to block for a while, but we can still Thoughtseize on turn 1. I want to have my lands here because my lands are going to be how I actually enable SmallPox. Or we're going to get discarded too. Alright, looks like we're playing against green black now. The basics are a pretty tell sign. And look at that, drawn out like a champ. Alright, they are more likely to have Pulse. Whatever, let's just kill Bob. Just means I'll likely be slow rolling the Lingering Souls. If they have a Tireless Tracker here, that's probably just the game. Ooh, look at that. Is that a good card? I can't see the picture. Is that a good card? Haha! Fell into our trap. Ooh, that's a good one too. So, empty opponent's hand here. Oh, crap. No, no, no. I was supposed to tap that. I'm pretty sure I can go get a Godless Shrine and untap it. I need the double black, so I'm at least going to try it. I've been a little curious about the rules on that for a little while, so I'm willing to give it a shot. If I pay 2 life and nothing happens, that's on me. Yep. Okay. That's what I thought would happen. So, anybody not following along at home, Flagstones allows us to go get a Plains card and put it into the battlefield tapped. The wording on Godless Shrine is that enters tapped unless you pay 2 life. I assumed that would be how it went down, but I kind of just wanted to give it a shot because if opponent kills this, I'm going to be sad. Oh, they had a Thoughtseize. Ah, there's the pulse. Alright. Urborg's not going to do anything for them, but it'll help. Yeah, I assumed that's what would happen, but I didn't float the mana correctly beforehand, so I kind of just figured why not try it. I do feel like we're pretty far ahead in this one. The way that their deck works is a Tireless Tracker can kind of get them back into it, but do you think Garrett's going to make me put Fiesta Parrot on my Twitch channel? Yeah, that's fair. But they could, like, fetch land into Tireless Tracker, fetch in response to the Edict. But it looks like we have them mostly locked out. Sorry, opponent. I don't think that Goyf really does a whole lot for you. Yeah, it does feel like we have a decisive lead. Besides, even Mind Sensor's making their fetch lands bad if they do Tireless Tracker. Yeah, opponents just had enough. Alright, again, Fulminator Mage and Damnation can kind of solve a lot of problems. Opponent's going to have a lot more basics than Jund, but Fulminator being able to take them off their lands is how we're going to make this work. It's essentially just this combo. Again, Thoughtseizes. Thoughtseizes are mildly more relevant. I really like Nissa in my green-black, but my Bobs have been flipping Nissa like crazy, so they might be trimming that, especially if they know that we're on the land destruction plan. Fatal Push is still pretty strong. Collective Brutality actually loses a lot. I actually probably should have cut these versus Jund when I was looking for stuff to cut. That feels alright. This can also kill a Tireless Tracker on turn 3. I might just be a little more inclined to do that. Overall, not a lot changes from Jund other than the fact that they're going to do less damage to themselves and they're going to be a little bit more reliable with their mana base. Yeah, I'd agree with that. We have Inquisition, Fatal Push. We have everything but a big Planeswalker, and as we mentioned last game, yeah, that's a weird purchase, Bradwan. As I mentioned last game, though, the discard between the two decks makes it better to keep a mediocre 7 than a really good 6. There's a new card kind of like that in War. We got the Narset's Reversal, and we also got a card that basically redirects one thing. Opponent knows we had the Fatal Push, and we kind of have to represent it, so I'm not excited about taking the shock there. We do care about our life total. Yeah, so opponent just ended up slow rolling it because of how we played, but that's fine. Again, keeping our black sources up. Kitchen Finks. Alright, this is a classic 2-for-1 that's really good for Jund, but Anguish Unmaking is basically going to fix all issues there. I am planning on smallpoxing next turn, so flagstones can come out. Actually, what do I want to do here? Because I can Aven Mind Sensor in response to the Field of Ruin trigger if they try to do it during their turn. And we actually won't have black up for smallpox. I think I might have to smallpox here. I'm just concerned because I wasn't smart enough to put a basic swamp in this deck that if they Field of Ruin, I won't have a second black source for the smallpox. But yeah, you're probably right. This is just most correct. I should hold all of this up and see what happens. I am terrible at Magic for anybody watching. Like, I try to build at least 3 decks a week that are interesting and worth streaming, so it's really hard to like get every little detail correct. And I'm taking the beats here. I'd rather see what they put out at Instep, which doesn't look like anything. So Anguished Unmaking is going to cleanly remove Kitchen Finks. And we get another one. Great. Well, that means we can Mind Sensor when they go to Field of Ruin it. Oh, they're not going to Field of Ruin. All right. Well, I can't Mind Sensor now, but Smallpox just went up a ton in value. So, get to float the mana correctly this time. We can discard, I guess, the extra Mutavault. Seems least productive. Assassin's Trophy. Alright, so opponent's got some action. We sacrifice the flagstones. I wanted to Urborg here so that Mutavault would be online as a black source. I am still really concerned about my black sources here. I mean, I guess we get a replacement with Godless Shrine. I didn't think that far ahead, but... Oh, not cool, opponent. Alright, well, we have a target for the Anguished Unmaking. If I Liliana here, I can also Mutavault. Discard the Fatal Push. Since the opponent was discarding Assassin's Trophy, I feel like they have 2 good cards in hand, which is making me really want to Liliana. You want to Anguish now? So that they don't pick up Kalitas? Kalitas? Everybody calls him something different. The Vampire Warrior dude? But if I attack in with Mutavault this turn and play Liliana, it means that this Lily's off the table and I'll still have Anguish Unmaking up. I'm on Lily just because I am getting the read that opponent is squatting on something really good in hand. If they discard a land, that's a horrible read on my part. But this discard right here, I feel like is telling me something important. And then if they do spend time like Field of Ruining my Mutavault or something along those lines, or they end up doing something with Lily, I still have an Anguished Unmaking in my back pocket. Meanwhile, they're plussing for no value, and I have a Lily. Yeah, I win the Lily race on its own. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I go get my last basic. My Lily goes up, discard flagstones. Oh, they had a Baloth. I want to see what they value. Okay. Opponent, you did next level me. You have my respect. But I was holding an anguished unmaking for this moment. That's a sad Assassin's Trophy. That's a good top deck, though. They had a Golgari Charm? Okay, so exiling the Obstinate Baloth was actually a really good get there. Opponent picked up Bob. That's fine. Wait, I don't need to do that. Yes, I do. Bye, Goif. Bye, Bob. Ooh, I missed that. I should have seen that. Bye, Lily. Alright, we have officially fallen behind. And Marsh Flats is not great. Soren's still pretty good. Other Soren's still really good. Opponent picks up another Bob. Yeah, the Baloth was super good. I actually do want to thin my deck. I should have done that before, so I'm going to be cracking the Marsh Flats. Marsh Flats does speed up our clock from 4 turns to 3 turns, but I'm okay to get another land out of our deck when we're on top decks. I'm sure anybody watching me a decent amount has just been like, this guy makes suboptimal plays to speed up the clock all the time. Yes, I do. I'd rather see the game come to a conclusion than hedge out like a 1% chance. It's been a while since I've seen Baloth in sideboard tech. Back when Jund and Splinter Twin were at the top of the meta, this card was everywhere just because Jund was a good chunk of the meta. Value Rock is definitely still a deck, but I feel like it's not nearly as prevalent as it could be. It is a very powerful deck. Oh, when Hollow One was running rampant, why didn't I ever jam that? That like is just ripe for jank. Burning Inquiry turn 1, put in a couple of Baloths. Okay, that's pretty much game. Okay. So, we did cast a Sorin earlier. We don't really have any creatures to buff, but we do get a token for turn. If opponent doesn't have landfall next turn, then it's pretty safely going to keep Tireless Tracker back, which means Hissing Quagmire's probably staying back. If they get their land drop, then... Oh, or that just happens. I forgot there's a Lily on the field. Well, we'll see what they actually decide to kill. It's probably just going to hit us. Yep, just after us. Token chump block. Show me what you got, opponent. It's over. Oh, yeah, we were super dead. Oh, we have sideboarding still? We won game one. I need to update my record more often. We are 1-1. All right. Does that change anything? Lily did work. Their Lily did some work. I don't think that's worth Leyline, though. I think we're just going to run it back. Hopefully the play actually gives us the advantage here. Turn 1 Mana Tide with Fatal Push for all their creatures. Lily of the Vel. We don't have any colored sources, though. We have colored sources. I'm actually thinking I have to send back Shambling Vent here. We have most of our colors, which means that we just get Inquisition on 1 and then start setting up for whatever we've got to do. And I don't really want to give them Urborg yet. That might actually help them. Yeah, Bradwan, what's up? Oh, I muted Slack. I did not. I apparently thought that I was checking Magic Online and OBS Streamlabs. I would have assumed that that was correctly updating my gaming. They have Languish. Taking the Inquisition here, though. I'd rather not let them take our Lily. Let me check Streamlabs. So that actually just might be a conversation for this weekend. I'm not really prepared to try to figure that out at the given moment. So, like, I have Twitch open on one of my tabs. Edit. All right, and following the same logic as before, Lily comes out. I know that they have the Assassin's Trophy pegged at her, but I'm just going to go ahead and discarding Lingering Souls. I'd rather be able to take their Bob or whatever they draw into. Seen Quagmire's come out. Windswept Heath has come out. It probably would have been correct to just discard the Urborg, knowing that I was going to get my 4th land off the Assassin's Trophy, but decisions were made. Now Urborg can come out, and we have Push and Mana Tithe up. Hopefully still another Mana Tithe. Because that was the dream tonight, was get a couple of Mana Tithes off. Oh, that feels so good. The blessing, the love, the Mana Tithe. Ugh, Fatal Push. Alright, I'll update the counter. That's the image, that's the counter. We have 3 Mana Tithes. Bye, Bob. Alright, so we know opponent has a Languish in hand that really doesn't do anything, and we have a SmallPox. I'm willing to squat on the SmallPox. If they end up running out their own Lily of the Vel, which I think they trimmed, then we can just discard Fatal Push, or yeah, discard Fatal Push and end up casting Pox on the next creature. Or if they think manlands are going to work, we can just push it. Opponent's tanking on if they actually want to hit us with Hissing Quagmire. Is the idea there that we want to save push for like a Goif? I'm willing to take the hit from it, but I think we kill it this turn. Because if they run out of permanent creatures, SmallPox is going to eat it. Yeah, I think I'm pushing it. And Bradwan, I updated my stream to be for content Magic the Gathering. I think that's the best I'm going to be able to figure out while streaming. Ooh, Flagstones is pretty decent. I'm going to be sad if they make us discard this Pox, but we don't have any value here. They're probably just going to discard a land. Or the Languish that I really don't care about. Well, hello there, Scoos. You feel like a perfectly legitimate target for my SmallPox. I had a Lingering Souls? Oh my gosh. I got distracted by Twitch. I'm not good at this game. Again, the value of Poxing that Urborg lets us actually tap Flagstones for black and then sacrifice it. This deck has a lot of really good synergies built into it. Alright, and opponent got rid of their Languish. Good cards. That's not a good card. It is a good card, just not here. They have 5 lands. If they Nissa, that will be a thing. Yeah, they have more than enough mana. Okay. Well, they ended up sacking their Field of Ruin, so the dream is still alive. Although, they got a basic, so no, it's not. Yep, recycle your Spell Bomb. I forgot I had a Lingering Souls in there. That was a free card for you, opponent, but nothing in there I care about. Now that's a good card. Languish is supposed to be a 1-of in the side. I'm still not even sure why opponent brought it in. But run out all my spirits that there's no more Spell Bomb or Scoo shenanigans. Hardcast Baloth. Oh, pulse me, bro. Do it. Pulse me. Or that works too. So, opponent has a Hissing Quagmire. Card in hand. I can attack in with 3 spirits, leave 1 on defense, Gideon, put out a token to block. I'll have a blocker for the Hissing Quagmire and the Baloth. If they end up sending everything in at Gideon, I'll just block the Baloth and Gideon will survive with 2 loyalty on him. Alternatively, this is likely an Assassin's Trophy. I could just run Gideon out in Anthem. I think I'm super far ahead in this race. If I Anthem, I'm hitting for 8. They're on a 3-turn clock. I'm on a 4-turn clock. I'm in the lead. Is it bad of me to want to Anthem here? I feel like this is an Anthem moment. Like, if it's not an Anthem moment, it's losing the game. If it is an Anthem moment, we just close it out. Opponents had 1 Assassin's Trophy in the top 20. They're likely running all 4. Oh, no, I saw an Abrupt Decay. I'm putting them on 3 trophies and 40.
Yeah, with Scavenging Hyena did absolutely
Whoa,
nothing. It
Twitch.
just got...
Bad Twitch. Super bad Twitch. It's a bad Twitch. Bad. Okay. Antheming Gideon is so good. If I Anthem Gideon and swing in for 6, I'm on a 4-turn clock. I'm still ahead. I'll have 1 on defense. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Oh, opponent can hit for 6. We're on a 3-turn clock. I think that means that we have to be on token. Although I should have done this post-combat. I definitely should have done this post-combat. It was possible that they would have actually just like pushed a spirit and they'd have no cards in hand. And I need to do it now. If I switch phases, I just won't get any value if they do Assassin's Trophy it. Ah, no Assassin's Trophy. Oh, 4-drop. Come on, 4-drop. Oh, no, that was for the tracker. We're an hour and a half in on game 3. Two-drop? It is live! Oh! Opponent doesn't respect the mana tithe. Let's move that counter up. Oh, that's amazing. Alright, so Shambling Vent comes down. I can plus Gideon. I think I'm just on another token. Leave 2 things back to chump block. I said to myself, the sequencing is awful because his last card is definitely going to be Mana Tithe. Alright, so that means that I get in with 3 spirits. Oh, tonight has been a grind, but I have been having a fantastic time. We're at 4 Mana Tithes. Do I trade the Gideon for the Tireless Tracker? No, if they have push, it's so bad. Alright, there's a Kitchen Finks. Fetid Heath, not a card you want to see. So the number of creatures I can start getting in with is significantly lower. I have Shambling Vents to chump block for a turn, but that is just so bad. They have their card advantage engine going. They can still activate the Hissing Quagmire. Alright, I suppose we stay the course. Yeah, the Hissing Quagmire is activatable, so I think that means a Fetid Heath comes down. 10, 11, 12. I've seen 12 lands and 23 cards. Alright, so I'm okay with Gideon taking a single hit here. Got to get some chip damage in, though. Finkstein is just going to make them gain some life. They're drawing cards. I think this one has officially gotten away from me. By Shambling Vents. Hello, Landfall Trigger. Hissing Quags coming in. Alright, so where's everything going? All at me. That's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I'm dead unless I block with something. but I get a swing back with 7, 8, 9 damage, which would mean that I have 4 things attacking. Even top decking a Soren's not going to get me there. I have fallen super far behind. Opponent has 2 cards in hand and they're tapped out. I'm just going to negate the most amount of damage and try to go for a top deck. I don't know what that's going to be, but yeah, it's not Mana Tithe. So, let's go out in a blaze of glory. And then we'll see if opponent actually wants to cast their spells. If they cast their spells, we might get a 5th counter for our Mana Tithe. Lame. Does this count? I'm technically countering a spell. I countered it! We have 5 Mana Tithe counters so far tonight, but I'm going to put 1 on the end as qualified because it literally didn't do anything. Yep, live by Mana Tithe, die by Mana Tithe. I made the horrible mistake in deck building where I didn't actually put a swamp in the deck by accident, so we've had a couple of rough ones there, especially against Field of Ruin. For the match, we are currently 0-0, and we are 1-2. We have beat Jund, we lost to Green-Black, and we lost to Spirits. Alright, this is a turn 1 Shambling Vent, turn 2 Inquisition. Oh boy. I think that's the mulligan. We have some really good starts with this deck, and that one's just a little too slow. We need a second black source. We can ship back Sorn for now. We have plenty of discard and interaction. We have 2 Fetid Heaths. We have 1 Fetid Heath. Which one is Bitter Ordeal? Is that the discard one? Oh, Bitter Ordeal's already a card. And it's already modern legal. Yeah, so it is being replaced right now by Jester's Cap in Modern. I'll pull it up in a second. I don't want my opponent to sit there thinking we're just tanking forever. Let me get my Thoughtseize on, go down to 15 on turn 1, as we do in Modern. Oh boy. Well, we're taking the Amulet of Vigor. So opponent's deck is Amulet Titan. They can basically kill us at the turn that that Titan comes down if they have an Amulet. So that's going to hemorrhage their draw a lot, and SmallPox should make it so that they can't take off. But Jester's Cap is currently the card in Modern, and it's because it's a artifact. When you actually start getting to the point that you care about what's in your opponent's deck, you can Whir of Invention for it. And this makes it so that you can just go take out the 3 cards that matter. Bitter Ordeal doesn't actually feel like it does anything particularly useful. Like, I didn't even realize it was legal in Modern. Alright, so we're going to be able to Mana Tithe the Azusa. If they have a Steve here. Ha-ha! Mana Tithe counter goes up! Oh, black source, black source, black source. Yeah, the Gravestorm already requires you to be comboing off, though. Not a black source. So you could either just go for the win in Modern, or you could try to Gravestorm. And I don't necessarily think that Gravestorm's going to be relevant enough, because most of the time you'll have something like a Zulaport Cutthroat or Blood Artist, and you'll just end up be draining, and you just get your combo going, and it just ends up winning on the spot at that point. Alright, so opponent gets to run out their Azusa. Oh, they got an Amulet too? Okay. Well, there's our black source. Discard the Fatal Push. I'm not saying it's a bad card. It's just it is already legal in Modern, so it doesn't necessarily feel like it'll make much of an impact because it's already here. Flagstones goes away. When we sacrifice Flagstones, we're going to go get a Godless Shrine, put it into play tapped. Our opponent's deck does not play Blood Moon because they end up requiring these bounce lands to generate mana. So we're good to stick with non-basics. Opponent currently has 3 mana out, and the 2 cards in hand are the 2 Primeval Titans. So we're kind of in a decent spot. We need a land for this Gideon, though. Alright, that Inquisition's going to whiff. Going to love the Fulminators in the sideboard. And actually, that might be all I care about in the sideboard. Alright, opponent's 1 mana off from Primeval Titan. Window's slipping. That's kind of a small window. Alright, Lily is hopefully going to make them... they'll discard one of their backup Primeval Titans, but they have a basic and a Primeval Titan in hand. Wait, when did they get the Summoner's Pact? So they picked up a forest off the bounce land. Okay, either way, it's not looking amazing at the given moment. So, big boy Gideon gets to come down. We get to make a 2/2. Still won't keep us alive if they actually get a combo out the Primeval Titan. I'm pretty sure they have another one in hand, though. I don't know. They did get rid of this one. Alright, so opponent has 6 mana here. Primeval Titan's coming down. They get to go tutor up the Haste land and the Boros Bounce land. Amulet's going to make them both come in untapped. They'll get Haste and Vigilance, and they'll go get the Double Strike land, and they're going to be attacking in for 12? But they get +2/+2, so they're going to be attacking in for 16. We have a 2/2 blocker. Yeah, I think we're dead here. I'm pretty sure, but I could think that they need 2 more mana, so I'm going to make them play it out. We do have a Lily to make them sack their creature. Yep, so they go get the Slayer's Stronghold. Creature's going to get Vigilance and Haste. The Amulet of Vigor is going to let this untap so that they get a tap for a red and a white. That's 16. Yeah. Oh, they can't get Double Strike. Oh, duh, it's when they attack. Yep. I just want to confirm that they grab the right lands, and then we can move on with our lives. I've never actually piloted this deck, but I'm pretty sure they can kill us here. If I see the correct lands, we're scooping. Missing that Smallpox on turn 2 is why we lost that game, by the way. We would have made them sack their bounce land, and they'd be 2 mana behind, which means that Liliana would have grabbed their last Primeval Titan, and Gideon would be getting their beats in. Gideon could also give us another chump blocker, which would mean that we survive for another turn. Oh no, they got sacrifice protection. Alright, so we are alive. Yeah, I couldn't remember if it was 4 mana or 2 mana to give Double Strike, which is why I wanted to make sure they got the right lands. Alright, so Fatal Push. That technically does it. Second Lily comes down, we keep the new one. Sack your prime time. And we're kind of in this. This feels fine for the given moment. We do need a defense. They still technically have the bounce land in hand that gives haste. So this is going to protect our planeswalkers. Now we can attack in, leave the Knight token on defense, and that means that our planeswalkers shouldn't die. Oh, wow. Hello, everybody. How's everyone doing? This is the first time I've been raided. We're playing a little SmallPox in Modern. We're getting our Mana Tithe counter up. We're technically at 6 Mana Tithes. Opponent just swung in with a pretty beefy Primeval Titan, but didn't quite have lethal yet. I'm expecting a board clear if they're attacking with the plant token. It kind of feels like it's there to just send a message. No, they gotta kill the Knight token. We've done that before combat for the Vigilance, though. Alright. Lingering Souls, amazing top deck. We can go ahead and run that out first. I don't believe they actually run Anger of the Gods. That last attack made me feel like they had it, but I can't imagine that they do. They definitely don't have Graveyard Hate main board, though, so we can go ahead and get in with our Gideon. Plenty of chump blockers for the Planeswalkers. Liliana grabs their last card. So EE means they can kill my Lily. I'm okay with that. Oh, I should have actually cast the other Lingering Souls, because then I could have made them sack the 1/1, and we would have had lethal on table. Looks like they got another Primeval Titan, though. If it is, we lost anyway. They're going to Primeval Titan, go grit the Double Striker land, and kill us. They might be a little short if they have to Talaria West into it, though, because that means that they'll go get Summoner's Pact. Then they'll have to pay for Primeval Titan. They'll end up having 6 mana for it. They can activate Slayer's Stronghold, and they're still going to be 2 mana shy. But works for me. We have plenty of outs in our deck, so we can end up drawing into a SmallPox. I'll get rid of the other Sakura Tribe Elder, then Lily can make them sack it. We can just get Fatal Push to kill the Tribe Scout. Anguished Unmaking. It's going to hurt, but it's going to win us the game. There's the prime time. So if they go get bounce lands, they can put out the Kalani Heart Expedition again to get another token, but that doesn't quite feel good enough. Oh, that is trample, so they at least get to kill Lily. Yeah, it was a mistake not to flash back the Lingering Souls. But for the sideboard, Mana Tithe is going to be useless. We were playing tonight to get that counter up, but we can see how much mana they've got over there, and it basically says that we'll never Mana Tithe anything except for on turn 1. Which we did get their Tribe Scout. Oh, okay, they have it this time. GG's opponent. Now, Mana Tithe. You're the whole reason I wanted to play this deck, but you're not going to work here. Fulminators definitely include, we can respond to the Amulet trigger. Damnation is horrible. They go for a turn 1 shot. Leyline doesn't really do anything. Stony Silence doesn't affect Amulet. It's just a triggered ability. I really don't think there's anything else that we want here. Aven Mind Sensor is going to be our ace in the hole. We are technically a mana denial deck, so we should have a couple of good outs here. I think that just means we're bringing in an Extirpate if we can get rid of their Primeval Titan. That's their primary combo. So Thought Seizes, maybe just trim an Inquisition. That can grab a Summoner's Pact, but that's about it. And I think that's how I want to run it. Aven Mind Sensor, please. Pretty please. Okay, single land, not going to cut it. Isolated Chapel comes in tapped. Oh, wow. This is so close. This is so very close. I don't think I can keep it, though. We have our top end. Fulminator hitting a bounce land actually does feel quite good. So we can just ship back Sorin and go for the turn 2 Inquisition. Hopefully grab the Azusa. Yeah, going to 5 just feels a little too risky. Besides, Sorin doesn't do a ton here. Like, he actually probably should have been cut for the other Inquisition. So we can keep that, ship back bad Sorin. Slow land for the lose. Again, though, if I was running the 4 Fetid Heaths that we could actually do the Flagstones into Smallpox combo, this would still be a colorless source, which just doesn't feel good enough. Although, that's why we would be doing that combo. Alright, let's take a peek. EE can grab our Lingering Souls. Coalition Relic is ramp. Black Permanent can get Lily, so that's currently my best option. Ancient Stirrings is also going to grab them bounce lands. So I'm not seeing an Azusa to enable their combo. I'm not seeing any current good bounce lands in hand. I did not actually get a Swamp in the deck by accident, so we would only be able to get a Plains off this Ghost Quarter, which is a little unfortunate, but opponent's probably going to ramp up into that. So how bad do I want my Lily versus... I kind of want them to Ancient Stirrings into a bounce land, top deck a Black Source, and Smallpox, so I'm probably just snagging the Celestial Purge. Run out our land, ship it back. I mean, even if they find a bounce land, we can Fulminator Mage it at the very least. Ancient Stirrings into Forest isn't the worst thing that could happen to us. Oh, bounce land. Come on. I want a Black Source off the top. Yes! Although they could just put in the Ghost Quarter and sack the Ghost Quarter to Smallpox. Oh boy. The struggle's real. So, Duress can snag the last Ancient Stirrings. It does, but having 4 Mutavaults and 4 Fetid Heaths means that we're never going to cast most of our double spells. Like, it's just so hard to pull off. Alright, so I can Brutality... I mean, I guess I just Brutality 1 mode? Really don't want to get rid of the Fulminator or the Liliana, so just kill off the creatures. Well, Urborg and Flagstones being legendary are really good for enabling that. But being legends makes it really hard for them to have multiples in the same deck without seeing that exact other card that enables that combo. Alright, so there's the last Stirrings. We've seen the Sanctuary. And there's the Relic. Found another one. Alright, Black Land. Oh boy. Not looking good. We have 24 lands in the main deck. It should be more than enough to get to 3. Opponent also didn't put a charge counter on that. Alright, well, they drew 2 cards. If one is a Primeval Titan, they're kicking themselves. Or if they wanted to transmute the Talaria West to go get one. Alright, well, they're technically at 6 mana. Them staying back means they have a land in hand, and oh my gosh, this might just need to be a move on with our lives. Deck's not cooperating very much. 2 lands in the top 10 of 24. Yep, there it is. Tapping for blue, I'm getting the read that they wanted Talaria West there. Them putting a land in probably means Talaria West as well. It didn't do anything. Okay. Opponent's doing the Aether Vial trick where you can act like you have something to put in, try to get action out of the opponent. And Amulet should be enough to scoop it up, so that's currently 3, 4, 5, 6 mana. If they've drawn either Summoner's Pact or Primetime, we're just dead. Opponent's doing Amulet Bloom things. Thank you for the follow. Alright, well, apparently no payoffs yet. Black Source. Okay, well, this is not going anywhere. Opponent has the Talaria West in hand to tutor and the prime time for next turn. Yeah, so that was that game. So I mentioned it a little bit before, but I know we had a lot of people join in the raid. I did make the mistake of not having a black source. I build 3 decks a week. I play a lot of jank. If you want to go check out squirreldealer.com or Squirrel Dealer on YouTube, I've been posting videos for about a month, 3 a week, all jank, all random fun shenanigans. When I was building this one, though, I missed the basic swamp. That's definitely on me. That was my fault. But we're running 4 Mana Tides. The Golden Knight was to get as many as possible. What our deck is trying to do is SmallPox with Flagstones and Lingering Souls, play a fair control list. Our finishers on the top end are the 3 Planeswalkers. Basically, we're getting a lot of tokens. We're trying to keep opponent off their mana sources, and we're trying to do some fun things. As far as this hand, we are currently on the play. We have a single black source, but we have a push and a brutality. If I had discard, I'd be a lot more inclined to keep it. Unfortunately, at the given moment, though, I think this is going to be a ship back. We have some really good starts, and this hand doesn't really enable it. This hand is looking a little bit more our speed. We get Flagstones and SmallPox, which means we get the combo on turn 2. Hopefully, opponent's not running discard. We do have Liliana after we kind of hopefully get a 3-for-1 on them. We have multiple lands here, and everything's going to be tapping for black. This is going to go get us a Godless Shrine on turn 2. This Godless Shrine is feeling a little excessive at the moment, and Mutavault can attack after we've drained resources. Then that means that we get to... Both of these are kind of tells of what we're doing, but we'll look a little bit more like Soul Sisters. We'll make opponent think that we're going to try to grind them out long term. And Tron. This is when I wish I had Fulminator's main board, but grabbing a Tron land and making them discard right off the bat with SmallPox feels pretty good. And Anguished Unmaking for a Planeswalker is just exactly my happy place. Discard Redundant Mutavault. Flagstone says when it's put into a graveyard, you can go search for a plains and put it into the battlefield tapped, which means we gotta go get our Godless Shrine. And that's as close to Sinkhole as we get in Modern. Alright, so opponent discarded a Walking Ballista. That's putting me on Eldrazi Tron as opposed to Stock Tron. Ghost Quarters also kind of telling for that. Relic is almost... Welcome, Crack the Earth. Alright, and we have a Mana Tithe. Alright, so we can Anguished Unmaking now, get rid of one of their cantrips. This is when it's put into the graveyard. Oh, no. Star is the one that's put into the graveyard. This is you draw a card as part of the mana source. Relic is going to keep us off of Lingering Souls on the back end, but that's about it. I think for now I'm just going to Lily, and it feels correct not to discard anything yet. Getting her on the board is actually making a statement. We also have 2 cards in hand we care about, so opponents got to be aware that we have some action packed. And this Mana Tithe, I think that it will make my night if I Mana Tithe the card. That's going to be the goal. Alright, so opponents tanking. We did play a little slowly there. I was trying to describe a lot of my lines. It's possible that they had just stepped away for a moment, or it's possible they're trying to figure out if they should be cycling into a land drop. If this is more traditional Tron, this is probably going to get a green and hope that they draw into a land for Sylvan Scrying. It could be possible that they're just wanting to pop the relic to see where they get to. And my dog found his squeaky toy. So we do have 3 finishers at 4 mana, so I would be a little inclined to run out my 4th land. But given the strength of our current hand, I think I might be discarding it to Liliana so that we can start getting some loyalty up. There's the Sylvan Scrying. And they did get a tower, so this is looking more like traditional Tron. And a super slow start for them. They kept a 1 Tron land, and we got rid of it. Alright, so typically upkeep stop is for a lot of different things. I guess they're just wanting to do the relic there. And I think I want to pick apart the hand. So we have a sphere, an Oblivion Stone, and the tower. Take the sphere. Given the fact that opponent's on absolutely nothing, I'm going to discard the Anguished Unmaking. And hopefully they hit their land drop and just run out. Well, they're going to discard the Oblivion Stone, so we're going to have Mana Tithe. And I tapped incorrectly for that. I am bad at this game. I play a lot of different decks. I don't always do everything exactly correctly. But we'll get some beats in. Hopefully opponent's on another blank. Alright, well that's on me. Now Mana Tithe doesn't really mean anything. And Brutality doesn't actually mean a whole lot either. I'm more inclined to keep the Mana Tithe just because we're not going to be duressing a Sylvan Scrying from them anytime soon. We could potentially snag part of a Walking Ballista, but that just doesn't feel good. We can't do anything about Worm Coil. But we'll get a little bit more beats in. And we have seen their tower. We don't know their hand. Cracks the relic. So opponent probably should have left up green if they were trying to cycle into some action, but I literally just did the same thing last turn, so I can't say anything. Alright, and another Lily is pretty safe because they're going to have to crack the Oblivion Stone here, so discard the Mana Tithe because they're going to have to crack Oblivion Stone next turn. We'll have our backup Liliana. And get some Mutavault beats in. Unfortunately, we're not putting enough pressure on the opponent, so they will have the ability to make their land drops and actually win the game. But we're just SmallPox away from setting them back again. Opponent, are you going to Ghost Quarter? Do you have a land? Nope. Alright. top decks I'm looking for here, I'm guessing Gideon would be one of the better ones. The Sorin that actually puts out vampires would be really good because Lingering Souls would basically put them on a 2-turn clock. And opponents going fishing for their land off the Ancient Stirrings. If they end up hitting Tron, they'll be able to crack this and then probably follow it up with a 2-2 Walking Ballista. But they didn't find it. Okay, they're going to let me alt Lily, or is this an upkeep blow? Alright. So Oblivion Stone, Towers. That seems pretty fair. It's 3 lands versus 2, but they're missing Tron pieces. Alright, then we get to run out our Mutavault. And Lily number 2. Make you discard your last card. That feels like a misclick or a misplay from opponent. I don't exactly know what happened there. But now we're getting in for 4 turn off Mutavault. Yep, and that's the game. Fulminator Mages, fan-frickin-tastic. Stony Silences cuts off all of their mana, their chromatic things, stars and spheres. It also stops Oblivion Stone. Leyline doesn't really do anything. Damnation doesn't do anything. Firewalker's in here for burn. Extirpate is interesting. I'm considering pulling it in. Like Collective Brutality is bad, Fatal Push is bad, but if we can end up making them discard to Liliana or Fulminatoring or Smallpoxing a Tron land, they're just completely out of Tron. As far as cuts, one of these Thorns is bad in this matchup. The emblems can speed up our clock. This one is a little bit of lifelink. I actually feel a little more inclined to get that in. Aven Mind Sensor here, turning off Sylvan Scrying and Expedition Map are a huge plus. Anguished Unmaking can actually answer their big Planeswalkers. It might just be an Inquisition. I'm going to trim a Mana Tithe. So if they do actually get to Tron, these are just the worst top decks I can have. And that feels like best configuration. We actually have the ability to destroy some lands, so we can have some fun with that. This does feel like one of SmallPox's better matchups, just because we do get to control, to a certain extent, what our opponents are doing. This has Hate Piece number 1, Search Hate, Slow Land, all 3 colors. I could try to look for something a little bit more aggressive, but if we end up finding a SmallPox early enough or a Fulminator Mage, this is pretty much just winning on the spot. And Stony Silence shuts off so much of their game plan, they have to actually have the Nature's Claim in order to do anything. So we can keep this guy. Plus we're on the draw, so we're going to see one more card. Oh, that was one of the Elder Dragons. I couldn't figure out what that art was for. We are currently up a game versus Tron. Shambling Vents comes down. And I don't even know what I want to see from them at this point. Possibly just a basic. Nope. They have a pretty strong start. Well, they're not cracking the sphere for Sylvan Scrying, so that's pretty good. I think I want a Smallpox here. That's probably our best draw. They'll sack a Tron land, then we can extirpate it and Stony Silence the following turn. Alright, well, that's a thing. So we can go ahead and get our Stony Silence out. They can't crack the sphere. But the way opponent's been playing, I'm assuming that they just have natural Tron in hand. Yep, there's the natural Tron. There's a Karn. So we have Anguished Unmaking as a top deck. Nope, they're going after lands. Alright. Shambling Vents is a slow one, but he only has one more activation to target lands. If he minuses again, it means that he just has a second Tron and we need to move on with our life. Yep. Or an Ugin? Or Ulamog. Ugin's actually fine. Because it still gives us a turn to draw into Anguished Unmaking to get rid of it. And I also want to see how they sideboarded, so we can at least get a little intelligence here. They did have a Karn in hand. They also have a World Breaker, which is why they're aggressively targeting our lands. They have an Allah's Dust, Oblivion Stones, Ulamog, Wormcoil, Warping Well, Walking Ballista. Yep, all that's pretty stock. But we have maybe 2-3 turns for... I didn't see the last card in their hand. It wasn't a finisher, though. Oh, I guess 1 turn for Anguished Unmaking? That's not great. Huh? Inquisition. Alright. Hopefully be a little more discard heavy on the play. Yeah, that doesn't really change anything. They literally had turn 3 Karn into turn 4 Ugin. Thoughtseizes are going to be at a premium here. I'd love to play first. We have SmallPox and Extirpate with Anguished Unmaking. And some discard. That's about as close as it's going to get. Godless Shrine untapped. And Inquisition away the Enablers. So, opponent has a single Tron land, a Sylvan Scryna, and an Ancient Stirrings. So, I am expecting him to run out the Forest on turn 1 for Ancient Stirrings, which means I'm actually a little tempted to just take Ancient Stirrings here, hoping that he'll actually lead on the Tron land and I can SmallPox it away. That might be trying to next level too hard. Sylvan Scryna's the best card, but Stirrings is still pretty solid. I think I'm going to try to have him set up for Tron and see if I can just steal Tron that way. Our deck is a little bit on the slower side, so I want to make sure I'm playing to every out that I have, and that is definitely one of them. I don't get to do flagstones here. I can mana tithe the Sylvan Scryne now, which feels fantastic, so I guess it's Anguished Unmaking going away. Oh, okay. Or opponent just knows that that's the end. Alright, so SmallPox. First and foremost, Mana Tithe was fun. What did we get our count up to? Technically 6, but one of them was countering a card when he could have paid for it. I feel like this deck needs stronger finishers. Elspeth is another option in the 4-drop slot. I really like Sun's Champion, but it's 6 mana. When you're sacrificing your own lands, it's not really plausible. The Fetid Heath with Flagstones is the combo that makes this deck work, and I probably need to be higher on Fetid Heaths. We had multiple problems tonight, though, where we had colorless mana and we couldn't cast our spells, and I actually think we lost like 4 matches because of it. Like, it was insanely high, and that might just be some bad running. Again, I did mention I didn't actually put a swamp in the deck. That was a deck building decision on me. I actually kind of just oversighted it, but it's still very strong. I would love to be able to do this with all colored sources all the time, but we're working on the synergy of SmallPox being great with our Lingering Souls if we want to care about our creatures. We also don't play a ton of them. Being able to sack our land and go get another land and hopefully 3 for winning our opponent. We really saw the power of that against Jund. We just did some fantastic things. Land Destruction is always going to be, first of all, a fan favorite. I know everybody loves Land Destruction, but it's going to be powerful because you get to set off your opponent's tempo. Modern is a very linear format, and being able to just say, like, sorry, you don't get tier 3 mana for your combo piece is very strong. Collective Brutality felt a little weak in the deck. Using SmallPox and wanting to discard for Collective Brutality felt awful. We played a lot of we actually played green black tonight and Jund, which we both actually wanted to cast the Lingering Souls from our hand to get just any kind of value that we could get out of it. Surgicals are better than Extirpate. Fulminator probably should be a 4 of in the 75. I do think I'd need to move some of those main board. We get the amazing white hate pieces and Stony Silence. You can run Rip if you want, but if you run Rip, you're not going to be running Lingering Souls. This deck is just so much fun, and we are going for all the Mana Tides. Just a ton of fun Mana Tides. But this deck is great. It is Fringe. It's not overly powerful. It's a weird control list. It attacks on a different axis than something like Blue-White or Grixis. Like, I'm a fan. I'd give it a shot. We did come up just barely under $1,000 in paper. A lot of that is the fetch lands and the shocks, but they're required. We also run the Lilianas, and that's probably about a third of the price right there. Huge fan of the deck, though. Does anybody have any questions as long as we're hanging out here? All right. Well, I think that's about it for me. It looks like Aaron W. Kent is doing something. I'm going to try to send you guys over there. You were my first raid. Really appreciate you guys sticking around and watching the video. Again, everything's on Squirrel Dealer, and I hope this sends you guys away. But thanks for watching, everyone. Okay, I guess that didn't. No, it did. Looks like we have 5 seconds. All right, I'm learning things tonight. All right, everyone, have a good night.